Hello and welcome back to my channel Coin Lady. You may recall Gary Gensler's recent announcement about qualified custodians, in which he essentially chose which institutions would be successful in managing this new asset class. That's where we began. Remember that this has been going on in the background for the past few years, as the pilot of the virtual asset playground has knowingly let early versions of Bitcoin and Ethereum run unfettered. And they have simply let them be as they are throughout. Meanwhile, Wall Street has been quietly working on custody arrangements with select tech firms. Gary has made no secret of his intention to turn everything over to the Wall Street men in his role as a big sun investor, and his public declaration of this plan is no accident. Because of this, I feel very happy. There is a private equity sale of Pali Sun and a 4-tier payout available. The app should return around $1,000 in XRP for every $10,000 spent. Therefore, I believe there to be $1,000, $2,000, and $5,000 worth of XRP, but you can only acquire these amounts by investing in Pali Saturn private equity before tonight at midnight. Gary and his pals will decide the winners and losers. Ultimately, they will side with their friends on Wall Street. This is how things are, and you learn to accept this fact through observation. If memory serves, Caitlin once operated a Wyoming-based custodial bank. Starting the world's first cryptocurrency bank was one of her primary objectives. Today's big news is that the Bank of New York Mellon, the largest bank in the United States by assets, has entered the Bitcoin custody space. It begs the question, then, of whether or not cryptocurrency is actually risky within the context of the established banking system and associated networks. An interesting question is whether or not the Federal Reserve should regulate them as a bank holding company. I have some news to share with you about the lawsuit my company has filed against the Federal Reserve, which you may or may not already be aware of. The Federal Reserve has just filed documents discussing the threat that cryptocurrency poses to the financial system, so you will see a file from my company in that court case, which relates to the announcement from this morning. Then today, a bank holding company regulated by the Federal Reserve began trading in cryptocurrencies. The last 2.5 years were spent waiting for this moment to arrive. Compare and contrast what the Fed said it would do last week with what it actually did today. Okay, so no one is awake. She feels betrayed by the Fed for the gift it gave her and the way Mellon was allowed to leave. Still, they've been taking their time while playing her custodial bank. You won't believe who invented Pali Sun, though. It was two males acting together. 2, 3, or even 4 men who had been executives at Mellon for decades were given to residents of the Ripple. In my opinion, life is too short for coincidences. As you can see, she is now standing before you. Actually, we're having this chat because of a recent remark or proposal Gary Gensler made regarding custody arrangements. The article did, however, focus on public acts that were novel and unprecedented. Custodial has proposed dropping them entirely as well. The Biden administration hopes that this renewed interest in drawing lines will help them enforce them. Again, the White House, is the Biden administration attempting to stifle cryptocurrency generally? Do we need to talk about unregistered securities and stable currencies as well? Though we were the initial targets of the wave, it's likely that the custodial bank was hit as well. The size and depth of the wave have become abundantly clear. However, the financial sector is isolating stablecoins and fiat-backed stablecoins if you consider the wave that has occurred. Also, it makes it clear that the first two groups consist of ideas that were cut from our business plan but are still relevant today. These ideas include unregistered securities, custodial services, a bank that caters to the industry, and the issuance of an instrument that is similar to a US dollar stablecoin and is called Avid. They may have killed the stallion to spread the herd, as they say in Wyoming. We are hybrid of sorts, falling into two distinct categories. The key question facing the industry at the moment is whether or not the Biden administration will completely debunk the sector, which would lead to a complete relocation of operations offshore. Although this is fundamental to the internet, it will not go away and will be used indefinitely by its users. Or are stablecoins and unregistered securities the only things being considered? If that's the case, I think we should keep going until we've exhausted all possibilities. If Wall Street were to open up and take the lion's share of the market, the government would presumably leave them alone. Given that it is Friday, I have formed this opinion. Despite my appreciation for this tweet, I elected not to share it. It's been said that XRP can melt a person's face. It's XRP to the tune of $2, $10, $50, and $100 in his possession. In my opinion, it will meet all of those benchmarks. Since today is Friday, I've decided to show it to you then. Take a look at this. Exactly this at this time. In the world of cryptocurrency, Binance is an exchange. Bloomberg reports that the prospect of delisting all digital currencies traceable to the United States is also being considered. This morning, Greg shares his thoughts on cryptography. XRP ran away for 300 miles. Here, where the value of XRP is falling, he keeps going. Therefore, after being once, it will flee at 300 miles and turn into a slingshot in preparation for the slingshot. That's what I'm hoping for. Start the servers up immediately and drop this on the 15th. On March 17th, the first flare drops will be distributed by averaging the holdings of 3 randomly selected blocks. It's like this, folks, the problem with these distributions. The first distribution was made on exchanges like Coinbase, Celsius, and a few others that did not yet offer it, so anyone who wanted a flare would have to get one then. I was doing some remote mining for Coinbase, though, because they are the biggest. If you fail to provide the flake tokens promised to XRP holders by these dates, they may take legal action to recoup their losses. They can't get their dividends until they get their tokens. I notified them and cautioned them about it. This means they have been officially warned. Just a few days after dropping the Ripple litigation, the comment from Cowboy Crypto that we covered in the previous video was made public. The Securities and Exchange Commission published this on their website. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP were all mentioned. All three are generally accepted as currencies but are not yet regulated by the SEC. They claimed this on their website, leading me to speculate that Hinton had planned to include XRP in his speech before him and redacted the relevant passages. And now we know that Rosalind Layton had an article ready to go up on Forbes yesterday, but that it was taken down. Okay. She naturally held it up like that, since days tend to run together and cause people to think wrongly that it is still yesterday. Didn't we all? Whatever the case may be, she has tweeted today that fresh air and sunshine are the best disinfectants, and she appreciates the interest and support of the XRP army. As always, I appreciate the help of those in the know. She has this story today on WashingtonJournal.com, however, I can't be sure that it's the same article. We can now access the Hyman files. Interesting as this article is, I won't be following through with it. Please excuse me if I go on a bit too long, but this is one of my most popular Twitter videos, and it inspired me to share it with you. I looked for it and found that, like many of the fantastic films we've seen from the henchmen at ETH Gate, many of them had sound removed on Twitter before Elon Musk. People who had their audio muted on Twitter were the same people. It's probably just a coincidence that many of the Twitter videos with the most views also have their audio muted, and that this has happened gradually rather than universally. Yeah. One of the bills had been viewed nearly 500,000 times, so I came back and reposted it. In addition, I have no doubt that it will receive more focus today. Did you know that there were 63 emails sent out with the speech draft, all but giving each other permission to deliver it? Where did the one commissioner who saw a draft of it work end up? Did you know, Clay J, that the crypto mom never actually saw Hester Pierce? The drafting process, no one can explain why Clayton would join that draft. Why? Given that Bill Hinton was the only commissioner fired, why would he bother to provide input? After convincing him to pose, Ripple censored the photos before releasing them to the public. I have it here if you'd like to take a look. The attorneys are being questioned. Do you have any experience as a client? To what extent has this been censored? I should mention that I am 90 years old. Reading it is easy. I want to address this to Pat. You were relating a story from your time at Harvard a few weeks ago. You brought up a man having issues and suggested he find a congressman who, for $500,000, would help you put up a lot of resistance to them. Is it? Indeed. He has asked me very direct questions about my previous work experience. The answers were analyzed with the help of the Ethereum Foundation. Take a horrified look at the omitted sections. Okay. The serving size isn't even close to being complete. What do you mean, are you serious? Why exactly did they omit that information? Exactly. Asking if the Ethereum Foundation has ever used your services. In the event that he is asked that question, suppose I'm authorized to speak for your firm. Yes. I can't reveal any details of our conversation. Thus, in the same vein as a record. Actually, it was just a show. Data like that is available to the general public. Are we allowed to make this public? In that case, you can demonstrate your point. Yes, most certainly. That being the case, I have my doubts as to whether or not anyone can accomplish this just yet. That's because this particular word is redacted on multiple pages, taking up an entire page in total. The current SEC is transparent and responsive to the public. What the hell? Whoa, Nelly. Indeed, you are correct. Then the parody production company XRP tweeted an unfunny message. Although I think he's trying to make fun of Congress. This day will also bring about change in Congress. Howdy, Gary. Perhaps later this year. It would be great to talk with you if that's convenient for you, sir. Elizabeth will carefully jot down your comments on cue cards so you can relax. Don't worry, we won't put you in a sticky spot. We adore you. I hope our fruit basket kisses found you. That is essentially what we have to deal with. It seems I only just now realized this. Learn more about what it thinks is driving the price of cryptocurrencies by looking at the blue chart. Binance, Federal, and the SEC regulation. The latest headlines are included. Then comes the latest information on the state of the cryptocurrency market. Nance claims that she and the SEC reached a settlement with Wells after being served with legal notices. Furthermore, it illustrates the state of the market on that specific day. I continued, now picture yourself as a Wall Street trader who has advance notice of the actions these regulators are planning to take. Then you too could be introduced on CNBC as a money expert. In the end, people need to know the truth. And this is another possibility. Friends, I don't know if you remember this, but a long time ago the mysterious Kendra Hill claimed that everyone thinks Bitcoin is secure and that they won't do anything to harm it. But that is not the case. There can be only one. In this way, she expressed her thoughts. So far, I've been leaning towards X or P as my favorite. Though I've always assumed it was unique, I can't be sure that it always will be. The time when Max Kaiser and Michael Saylor thought Bitcoin was safe and condemned other cryptocurrencies as securities brought back memories of that time. Managing one's karma isn't always easy. Specifically, it refers to Lee Reiners, who recently gave a speech before the U.S. Congress. Now he's retweeting a Wall Street Journal article that claimed a small group of Bitcoin's developers runs the currency and claiming that Bitcoin's detractors are trying to argue that it's an unregistered security because proprietary fiat currencies can't compete with it. They wish to attempt to limit the bullying of open-source developers by Node Software. The tweet has been shared by Lee Reiners. I see. Bitcoin is seen as a decentralized gold standard despite the fact that a small group of developers works tirelessly on software that is 99% of the Bitcoin network. Cryptocurrency. I would advise caution. Cryptocurrency owned by Maxi. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. And hit the like button. See you later, bye.